camera your names, how it's spelled, your job titles.
Okay, it's Paul Gaut, spelled G-A-U-T.
G-A-U-T.
Yeah, and I'm General Manager for Learning and Development for TNT UK.
Perfect. And you?
I'm Andrew McDonald, McDonald, and I'm General Manager for Talent for TNT UK.
Perfect, that's great. If you can look at me, that's lovely. Ignore the camera. When you're happy, you happy? You happy, Michael? Yep.
Great.
So start off, what do you think are the biggest challenges facing TNT, but also across the sector, the themes really over the next 5 years?
I think we've got a couple of really short-term problems as a business and an industry.
Oh, sorry, my fault. That was such a good start. I'll do that again.
Oh, yes.
Bring it up on top.
Yeah.
Okay, isn't it?
See where it's going. Okay, that's fine. Okay, Charlotte.
Okay. Can I ask, what do you think are the biggest challenges really facing the sector over the next 5 years?
I think we've got a really big short-term problem, both as a company and an industry. I think this year the impact of the driver CPC legislation will really start to impact. We're quite well placed in the amount of people we've trained, but there are a number of drivers across the industry who don't hold those qualifications now. I think there's going to be a real stress for the amount of talent we hold as a business and an industry to make sure we've got the right number of qualified drivers who are licensed to operate. I think that goes on into the mid-term. The qualification and skills and capability of our managers and leaders as an industry and a business is crucial. We're going through enormous change as a business around the kind of complexity that's now coming in supply chains, the demands our customers are making on us. We've really got to do something to change the capability of the people who work in our industry to meet that challenge.
Is this something that you would tally with?
Definitely, and yes, for sure. And also, the global market's shrinking, so supply chains are having to be more intuitive, more virtual supply chains. Organisations are going more for single source, so it's a broader supply chain base people are having to work around. And it's also procurement, the way people buy as an organisation, and also the public, the way that they purchase, especially online, etc., really starts to challenge supply chains as we currently know them. So I do believe that the supply chain of the future will look very different than the supply chain of today. And rather than organisations being in competition with each other, I guess really it'll be supply chains that compete with each other. And whoever has the most effective, efficient supply chain may win business in the future.
Exciting though, isn't it? Because there's a real shift in the way that the business is run. What do you think are the kind of themes going forward? You kind of talked about the challenges. How would you identify the kind of themes, the changes, the kind of positive things that a good business is going to be latching onto?
I think the physical to digital transformation is something that's already a challenge for us in documents particularly, but with the rise of things like on-demand manufacturing and 3D printing, we don't know what that's going to mean for some supply chains. But of course then time-critical things like food and distribution of those commodities will always be there. So I think we'll see a real polarisation in the market, and as Paul says, how the supply chains adapt and the role we can play as an industry in helping consumers, manufacturers, suppliers rebuild and reconfigure those supply chains is a really exciting time for us. But again, the demand it places upon the people who work in this industry to think differently, act differently and be creative and change ready is a real challenge.
In a sense, the people that operate the supply chain are also going to be heavily influencing the kind of things we buy, the kind of things we sell. I mean, the two industries are really converging, aren't they? Because you can't have this instant manufacturing without having a supply chain that fits in with that.
And I think supply chains will collaborate more than they have in the past.
You're on a tight for that one.
I am now,
Yeah, brilliant.
Charlotte.
So it's going to be really important, isn't it, that the supply chain and the manufacturers are absolutely, on the same balance sheet. They're moving in the same direction. Otherwise, we won't be able to take advantage of extraordinary developments in manufacturing.
Yeah, that's true. There's going to be greater collaboration with the manufacturers and their supply chains, but also providers of supply chains. There will be greater collaboration. to sort of overcome cross-border challenges that we may be faced with. As that market shrinks, we need to have a seamless, in many cases, single supply chain into manufacture, out of manufacture into consumers. So I think third-party, fourth-party logistics are really going to start at the front, even more than they are currently.
Very briefly, exciting times, worrying times, actually something that people are kind of getting quite kind of into, or they're a little bit worried about?
I'm really excited. People in organisational development will be key. Change, sustaining change, and that shrinking global marketplace will only bring great opportunities for people and organisations, I believe.
I think there's a mixture of worry and excitement. You know, for those people who are quite traditional and see and don't embrace the future, this is a very worrying time because change is coming. This industry won't look the same. But for those people that can embrace it, are change ready and are innovative, this is a fantastic time to be at the forefront of reinventing the whole industry.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Can we just get a reverse?